Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Making a Difference here on Buzz TV. I'm your host, Wayne Veldsman. Each week, we speak with nonprofit leaders and change-making entrepreneurs all about the difference they're working to make in this world. Today, I'm excited to introduce to you Miss Sarah Murray, the actual executive director of Free to Run. Sarah, thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Wayne.
Yeah, my pleasure. I was doing a lot of research ahead of time, but why don't you tell everybody just a little bit more about Free to Run?
Sure. Free to Run is an organization. We're a nonprofit, or in the global world, we call it an NGO, non-governmental organization. And we work on basically empowering girls and women, young women, in areas of conflict through running and leadership training and health training, mental and physical health type things. And the organization was started in Afghanistan. We spent 8 years working basically in one of the last frontiers where girls and women really don't get any access to play sport. We've expanded to Iraq now, and will soon be expanding to one other to be determined location in the Middle East, probably either Northeast Syria or Palestine next year.
That's pretty amazing, right? So when you say you guys got started in Afghanistan, probably a place where not many people would think to start a nonprofit or an NGO. How did that sort of happen?
Yeah, it's definitely not like starting a nonprofit in Milwaukee or something, that's for sure. So the founder of the organization is a human rights attorney named Steph Case. She's a Canadian woman. She also is a really talented ultra runner. And she was based in Kabul, and this was in 2014. And she was raising money through her ultra races for women at gender-based violence or domestic violence shelters in Afghanistan. And on the weekends, she would spend a bunch of time with them, and really found out that the women didn't, while they appreciated the money, they wanted to run, and they didn't really were quite persistent about coming to run with her because that's what interested them, and that was what was different. And so she challenged her own assumptions that they couldn't, and decided to first start helping some young women run just around the UN compound where she was working. And then slowly, year after year, started to expand that into the public space, started doing deep work with communities, and especially boys and men, and imams, so religious leaders, to make sure that actually girls and women would be safe. And before the Taliban took over in August of 2021, August 15th, 2021, we had almost 1,000 young women participating in weekly programs in 5 provinces in Afghanistan, including provinces like Kandahar, which are the most conservative and the most difficult, and had trained the first woman to run a marathon, first woman to do a triathlon, first woman to do ultra marathons. And all of it, the running is amazing for us, and that's really important and gets a lot of publicity. But really what we're working on is what happens through the running. It's like a Trojan horse effect. Yeah. So how do societies become more gender equitable when girls and women have access to that public space, and when they build their confidence and their leadership and their communities see them as leaders?
Absolutely amazing. Focusing on leadership through running. And you said there was about 1,000 women in Afghanistan that were part of the program?
Each year, yeah. And then over several years, there's just generations. So all the programs were eventually run by Afghan women themselves. And the role of folks like me and the United States and Canada and other Western countries was really just to kind of fundraise and amplify this amazing work and help them strategically to be a legitimate nonprofit organization. But it's been really successful. And yeah, the Iraq program, we're still working in Afghanistan, but we're having to do it in a bit more of a clandestine manner. We're doing a lot of indoor physical fitness and mental health support at a smaller scale. But we've also, since 2018, been working in Iraq. And we work at 4 sites currently in Iraq, working with Syrian refugees and folks that were displaced because of ISIS. And we've got hundreds of girls participating every week in those programs as well.
Wow, pretty unbelievable. Like, I'm happy to hear that, like you said, sort of the Western world now is more for helping to raise funds and spread awareness. And so I'm really happy and kind of honored that you could be here today and we could help you spread awareness even more.
Thanks. Yeah, it's an important time, as we take a look at what's happening in Iran and Afghanistan. In many ways, there's a backlash on women's rights, and a lot of the progress that's been made over the years is retracting. And so it's a time to hold the line, and it's a time for folks that care about women's rights globally and girls' rights globally, or just folks being able to do something as simple as go outside and run to really stand up. So yeah, free to run. We're really proud of the work that we've been doing. It's hard work. We work in the places where no one else wants to work on these kinds of issues, but we've had a track record of being pretty successful in doing it.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here today. And thank you, everybody else, for tuning in as well. If you want to learn more about Free to Run and all the work that Sarah is doing over there, visit us over at iwantabuzz.com. Until next time, you've been listening to Making a Difference. We'll see you soon.